Hey, it's Mako. Welcome back to my channel. It's so nice to see you here. I sometimes get comments saying that you just bought watercolor paper and you made sure that it has the same weight that I usually recommend for watercolor paper, but for some reason it still buckles all the time and you just don't know what to do. And that's why in this video we're going to talk about why watercolor paper gets wavy and how you can avoid that. And as a bonus, I will show you a simple trick how you can save your wavy paintings. When it comes to watercolor paper, it's true that you want your paper to be at least 300 GSM when you want to work with a lot of water, because the heavier the paper, the more water it can hold. Because when the paper is wet, it expands, and when it dries, it shrinks back. And if you use paper that is too thin, the paper will just stay wavy. But the weight of the watercolor paper doesn't necessarily tell you the full story of how it will behave when you add water, and this is why. Watercolor paper can be made out of different materials. For example, the paper can be made out of wood or cotton pulp. And depending on what material the paper was made from, the result can be very different. Wood pulp paper is usually cheaper compared to cotton paper, but it also has a lot of downsides. The colors can look more pale, the paint can easily dry patchy, and the paper can break and buckle a lot. This is because wood pulp paper absorbs the water more unevenly and also a lot slower compared to cotton fiber. Watercolor paper made out of cotton is usually more expensive, but the colors look a lot more vibrant, the paint dries evenly, and the paper buckles a lot less in general. This is because cotton paper is more flexible compared to wood pulp paper. Cotton paper absorbs the paint quickly and evenly, so when it expands and shrinks, it can keep its shape. Which means that when you add a lot of water on top, it's less likely to buckle. Now, what can you do when your wood pulp paper buckles like crazy and you can't really buy cotton paper? So what do? One thing you can do is you can get watercolor paper in the form of a block where all the pages are glued together on the sides except for one little area. To remove the paper after your painting is fully dry, you simply have to use a knife or something similar to detach the sheets from each other using the little gap that is free of glue. Now, the other option is to stretch your watercolor paper. Now, I personally used to do that, but I didn't really like it because it's a lot of work and you damage the paper super easily and it just takes forever until you can finally paint. But if you want to try it out, you just basically have to soak the paper with water and tape it down to a board and then just let it dry this way. So when it expands and shrinks, it stays the same. But as I said, you will have to prepare multiple sheets of paper and wait for it to dry for hours, and you also make the paper more fragile. But what you can do instead, you can use washi tape or tape for sensitive surfaces and tape it around the edges of your loose sheet of paper. But what can you do when your paper still dries wavy? What you can do is you can spray a little bit of water onto the back of your paper, and then you can either place something flat and heavy on top and leave it dry overnight, or you can place a piece of fabric or a piece of paper on top and then iron the paper on a low setting to speed up the process. If you have any other questions about watercolor supplies, make sure you download my free guide to watercolor supplies where I cover paper, paint, and brushes and everything that you need to know to set yourself up for success. I really hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!